Welcome everybody, this is Professor Hemlock here. I'm coming at y'all with a plus 13 mists today. Now this is definitely one of my favorite dungeons to do right now in the expansion. It's fun, it's got a good speed to it. It feels a little bit more fluid than the other dungeons, a little bit less bosses too, which is kind of nice. Although this is Fortified Week and there's a lot of packs to pull, I still think it's a really fun dungeon. Now, here I am playing Arcane, and I'm using the standard talent build with Night Fae. I am using Arcane Echo in this video, which I was doing some playtesting with, and I do think Resonance is still the talent pick, where Resonance probably adds about 3.5% overall DPS, and Arcane Echo probably adds around 2.5% DPS in my tests. So definitely run with the Resonance still per one of my early videos. I am using Touch of the Magi conduit along with the every tick of clear cast missiles reduces the cooldown of AP during this run. So I think it's really important for Mythic Plus to have AP up as much as possible. And if you can get, obviously the 1 minute combust is really great. We're trying to get to that 1 minute arcane power is what I want to see. So I am running the Clearcast Missiles proc conduit for that to help it out. And here I do make a lot of mistakes in this video. Right off the bat, I make two pretty big mistakes. Tossing out my orb and pulling an additional pack, standing in an AoE mechanic. So I'm going to kind of go over throughout this video just generic mistakes when I see them and what's kind of going through my head as I'm doing the video. So here we are. We'll get it rolling. I do have full buffs here for this. So I am running Flask, Food, and I'm running the Shadow Core Oil. And it's Big Flask as well. Now right here, my first thought is I want to get AP on cooldown. That way we can just maximize uptime of Arcane Power. And I'm doing a standard generic opener. Right here, there's the orb going into the additional pack. Whew, go Professor! Definitely not perfect on the intro there. And there's walking into the AoE. So definitely not perfect. So this is not a super clean run. So far we're off to a bad start. The DK actually will go down here, the tank. He will die. But he lives forever. So great healing throughput on our Holy Paladin was in the group. Night Fae pod saved me there. Paladin tossed a bop out. And we're able to recover getting the DK tank back. Now right there, with one mob left, I had Touch up again, and I had Presence of Mind up again. So I did want to get those things back on cooldown. Something I could have done here was Rune of Power. I probably should have. And because I didn't, I lost a little bit of damage. So those are things where I can still improve upon. The big thing we're trying to do is keep cooldowns on cooldown. That's what'll create that difference between doing a bunch of damage and not doing a lot of damage. Now again, here I got AP up. I'm just going to walk into that AP. Now occasionally when I do get the Clearcast procs, and I'm trying to focus down a specific mob, I will use my Clearcast procs to use missiles instead of Arcane Explosion, even if there's more than 3 mobs. I do think this is kind of situational for the most part. Generically, if there's less than 3 mobs, you should always be using your Clearcast procs on missiles. That way your AP can get that maximum uptime. Of course, if AP is off cooldown, you don't need to spam missiles. Even when you get the Clearcast proc, so you can stay using Arcane Explosion if there is 2 or more mobs. So that's definitely situational, and you kind of want to look at that as it comes. Most of the time, if there are more than 4 mobs, I will be using Clear Cast for Arcane Explosion. If there's less than 3, I'm going to use missiles to maximize that uptime on AP. And we did have a number of other deaths here, so definitely off to a rough start. We do actually time this key. Woo! I start the pull off with a rune into a touch and presence of mind, and I'm just going to hit my AoE rotation. Now, something that I do think is important to note there, I did use Touch of Magi there, and I did not use only single target abilities. I kept dealing AoE damage. Touch of the Magi overall is a low DPS figure. It's not going to be a large percentage of your damage. Arcane Explosion, Arcane Barrage, those are going to be exponentially bigger portions of your damage and offer more overall DPS. So in the name of that, trying to obtain a higher DPS figure, that's what I'm going to do. Even if I'm just applying Touch of the Magi, and I'm still going to barrage that target, I'm still going to use Orb, Arcane Explosion, and whatever that Touch of the Magi AoEs for is what it AoEs for. In my testing and personal experience, it's just straight up better to keep doing the AoE rotation. Arcane Explosion is tuned really aggressively right now for a lot of damage. Alright, now right here going into this, I do have a minute 30 left right now on Arcane Power. So we have one more pack before the boss, so I should be able to get a super clean AP up by the time we're lusting and we've killed this ad that comes with the boss. So I'm going to start using my off cooldowns here, get my rune out, get my shifting power out, and I'm just going to start doing some damage. Now it is quaking this week, which I know a lot of mages have theory crafted to reduce our damage by a substantial margin. That's also another great reason to play Arcane right now. Arcane suffers a lot less from the stand and cast issues of other, like Flame Strike, Blizzard, all those, you know, frost and fire spells that you have to cast and stand even when doing AoE packs. Arcane doesn't suffer from that with Arcane Explosion and Barrage. And your only thing that you're going to be using for cast will be your shifting power and Touch of the Magi. So right here, look at everything coming up off cooldown, perfectly timed right now. I've got Rune, waiting for the pull, rebuffing Int there, make sure everyone's got it up. I do my Rune, and then I get my standard rotation opener here. So I'm trying to build. I'm going to get my Clear Cast procs, hopefully off of this rune, before I go into an AP go here. And again, what I'm thinking of, going back to that single target rotation video, is I am looking at my mana pool. I'm trying to make sure that I do not drop too low to a point where I can't recover. My Clear Cast was about to fall off there, which is why I dumped the Clear Cast. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of RNG involved in that, and I didn't get multiple procs. So I am going to go into my AP burst rotation here without any Clear Cast procs. I did use Presence of Mind right there, so I avoided the quaking. Very great strategy. That was a 53,000 crit. Woo-hoo-wee! Let's ride that Arcane train. That's a fucking lot of damage. 53,000 crit. Oh, that's great. That's great. So right now, all of us in the group are over-ish 9k DPS. That is just freaking beautiful. And we're just going to burn the boss here at this point. We did enough damage to now we don't need to worry about that. Even though the boss is really low there, I'm going to touch just to make sure I can get more barrage damage out. And I scuffed that up again. I'm standing in way too much shit for a plus 13, that's for sure. But ended the fight there. 7.6k DPS. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, we're playing with a Boomkin and a Marksman Hunter, so of course mages can't be number one all the time. Our DK does a nifty little pull trick here where he pulls through the wall. So this is going to help save us a pack pull, which is kind of nice. Now again here, since I had AP on cooldown, I'm going to use my all my off cooldowns, basically. I used my secondary on-use trinket, I used my Rune of Power, I used Shifting Power, and since this was a big double pull, I did end up going ahead and using AP. Depending on that pack size, that's kind of how you want to vary, you know. It's very situational. If the DK or your tank is going to be using a big pull, and you have AP come up somewhere in the middle like I did here, I'm going to go ahead and use it still, especially because this is a very big pull. Something to keep yourself aware of too throughout Season 1 here in Shadowlands is Prideful. Right now we are at 38%. So that next pack we pull, Pride is going to spawn next pack on the first mob we kill. So you gotta try and keep all of these mobs' HP as low as possible, because Pride is going to spawn in the middle here. This is a little bit easier as Arcane, because most of your damage is straightforward AoE damage. So you're not going to have to worry too much about it. But try and target mobs that are the higher health mobs in this situation. That way we don't get the Prideful spawning. See right here, even though all the other mobs are lower and I could get a little bit more execute damage, I'm still targeting the highest health mobs. And then there we go. Whole pack dies nearly the same time, and we get the Pride spawning. Now I'm just trying to kite him, slow him down with Chrono Shift, and now we're going to go let our off-target AoE damage do all the work for us. Big thing to note when you get the Pride, basically that debuff, that big Prideful debuff where it's doing the cross section, don't move, let everyone else move, you'll be just fine. Now I'm positioning myself here to make sure that I'm not getting hit by that. Now we've got AP up for this next pull. Of course I get locked. Bro, what are you doing? But I've got AP, we've got the Prideful debuff. Let's fucking pump some damage. Now this is where I think Arcane shines probably just the best. I mean, look at this. We're topping 15k DPS right now. Oh, feels so good. Ending that pack at 12,000 DPS. Feels good. So now that I've just used my big cooldowns here, we're going into those secondary cooldowns. I have Rune, I have Touch. I'm going to get everything on cooldown here. Alright there, I thought I had kickoff cooldown, but I did not, unfortunately. It was 3 seconds left. Now you can kind of see me doing this here. I'm getting a lot of barrier use every single time. If that barrier is off cooldown and I don't have one currently on me, I am using it as much as possible. Unlucky timing there. Quaking happens right as soon as I am, of course, casting the evocation, so I don't get a full mana bar out. Now, I did have AP up for this pull, but I decided to hold for the next pull. Now, when a boss or a mob gets low like this, where it's 7% and you have no charges, note how I am not using Arcane Blast. That long cast time is just going to negatively impact your DPS figures. It would be straight up better to get a little upset at myself there for getting locked on Arcane. But when the boss is typically lower than 10 to 15%, and I have no charges and I'm just trying to get barrage damage out, I will spam 2 or 3 Arcane Explosions into barrage. It's definitely situational though. If it's a very high health boss, that would be a situation. Now with this week being not tyrannical, we're on fortified. I'm going to go ahead and use AP here, but the boss is coming up very soon. I may not be able to get AP up for this next, the actual boss pull, but on this boss specifically, that's not something you have to worry about too much. The boss is going to always do the games play thing, so you're not going to be able to have... of course, we get an accident there. So on fortified weeks, you definitely want to use that AP on packs of mobs to keep your DPS figures high there. And as you kind of see there, I ended at nearly 13k DPS off that AP pull. Where... Key's dead, boys. It's funny. So due to our little scuff up there, on my second little burst go here again, I'm using the rune, I'm using touch, and I'm just going to hit them all with the AoE as best I can. I do stand in an AoE and get potted. Of course, no one's perfect. I do make a little bit of a mistake there. I'm clear casting missiles right now because I didn't think I was going to get AP up for the next pull, but I actually did have AP off cooldown, so that was a mistake in that situation. I should have kept spamming Arcane Explosion instead of using my clear cast procs. Now going into this, we will have AP, we will have all our cooldowns. I already have Presence of Mind put on my bar. Unlike the long-term single target rotation, with this fight having a lot of movement mechanics, this fight having the games playing, I don't feel like we're going to get a lot of time to do a long setup opener where I would Rune of Power and then... Exactly right there. So I got my rune down, but I wouldn't have had enough time to maximize my rune usage. So since I'm not going to, I just hard open with my Touch of the Magi Palm AP opener. Now we're going to see me make a big mistake here on the next guessing games. I do try and CC. This group is playing their brains out. The Druid dropped a Roots on the illusion. The Hunter dropped a Binding Shot, and I Nova'd. So we have a lot of crowd control going out right now. So I believe this is where probably the biggest mistake of the dungeon run happens right here. So I'm about to have AP up again. I get locked. That's not where the mistake is. I'm about to be able to go into an AP go here. So there we are. I'm going to pop my AP and give them the hammer here. Dodge the balls. Just going to finish her off as much as I can here. I'm kind of going all in on my damage right now because she's so low. But she does get another guessing games off, and this is where I make the mistake right here. There's a dodgeball coming out, as you can kind of see there, and I'm unaware of my positioning. I'm trying to tunnel down the spawn. I make a mistake, and I'm punished for it by death. Now this is going to lower my overall DPS figure by quite a bit due to that major mistake. Always pay attention to your surroundings. So this is a little RP moment after this boss dies, so I am going to have time to re-get my food up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my food buff, I'm going to get my int up, and then I'm going to run my butt on back to the group. The food buff, it's minimal, but it does make a dramatic difference over the course of the whole game where you can, I don't know, I just like to keep it up. It's really cheap. Food's cheap. Don't be stingy. And I think if it wasn't for this mistake right here, I actually would win the overall DPS battle. But with that mistake, I think this is where I lose the overall DPS battle against this gosh darn boomkin. Now again, going back there, if I'd paid a little bit more attention, I would have realized that at the percent we were at high 70s. Killing that one mob would have caused the pride to proc, and I would have done better split damage on the ad minions. So right here with Pride, I do have AP up for this. I actually think I save Pride here. Normally, tanks pull very big in this area due to these mobs being a little bit easier difficulty to kill. So now we've got the buff. I'm going to try and eat up to help out my healer. Getting that barrier applied to myself. Now I got every cooldown in the world here. So I'm going to AP, and I'm just going to go. Big damage. I get the lock on the mob. And that pack just got decimated. Now right here I made a mistake. If I'd planned this out a little better, I would have moved into range first to rune and then stayed in there. Of course I didn't, so hindsight 2020. You can only improve based on watching yourself play, right? But again, I'm still using that same cycle of damaging rotations there, where I'm using AP one pull, I'm using Rune of Power one pull, and I'm using Touch of Magi off cooldown, I'm using my secondary on use trinket off cooldown, and I'm using Shifting Power with my Rune of Power goes. That way I can use it after an AP go to try and get that AP off cooldown as much as possible. Something that is very important here when you're not on a bolstering week, I am always trying to tab target to the target below 35% HP. Please, please, please make sure when you are having your enemy target frames, show percentage. Super helpful when you're running the Execute legendary like I am. It does maximize your ability to get that Execute damage in. And Arcane Barrage will be our #1 damage done overall, almost every single dungeon. I've yet to have really one where it makes that big of a difference. So right here I'm sitting on the very edge of my Rune of Power, staying in it. I do a much better job that pull. I got upset at myself on the last pull from not staying in range. I do pop AP here. My thinking with the AP is I know we have one more pack to pull, so I want to maximize damage on this on the pack and the Pride boss. And then I'm going to try and get all of my cooldowns back up here for this boss. This boss is a Lust on Pull boss, so I know if I'm able to maximize my clear cast missiles here during this fight, I should be able to get close to having my AP up. I get that clear cast proc, I'm going to use those missiles. Again, reapplying that barrier. And right here, I have Rune and Touch Up. I do not have AP, and AP was 30 seconds off. So at this point, since I know we're going to Lust, I'm a little bit off timing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Touch of the Magi here, and I'm going to hold my missiles. Looks like I've got 3 stacks of missiles right now. That'll make my AP come up. So a little bit of scuffed timing on the go there. I could have done much better single target DPS, but I mistimed that AP go on the Pride there. I probably should have held it, hindsight 2020. But again, this is Fortified Week, so it's less important to hold specific cooldowns for bosses, and killing big AoE packs is very important. So right here I re-barrier because I got aggro of these little larva dudes. I know that they're not going to kill me, so I'm going to try and kill them while standing in some of the damage here. I did get hit by a little bit of AoE mechanics, so I do block aggressively. And right now I'm out of mana, so I'm going to hit this Evocate. Mind Link's coming out. This is where you have to run away from everyone. It was cast on me, but I was already spread so far I didn't have to worry. We're going to come in and we're going to try and AoE down these ads. Boss is really low right now, so I am just trying to hit the ads to generate as much as I can. Always running away from that Mind Link. And now we're just trying to get the finishing touches off on this mob. Barraging or Arcane Explosioning every other GCD. And there it is. So we did time this plus 13. I ended up averaging 5.3k DPS. Beat the Hunter, could not beat the Boomkin. I think I pull up my damage breakdown here soon. There we are, and I'll kind of pause it here just to kind of go over exactly how important Arcane Barrage is. It's going to be most of your damage. And this right here, you can kind of see at number 8 is Arcane Echo. It accounted for 2.5% of my damage. It's just not enough to overpower Resonance's 15% damage increase on Barrage per target hit. So, you know, this is something that I've tried on and off multiple times. I've watched other people's theory crafting on this as well. I do not think Arcane Echo is the play. I do think you should be running Resonance in almost all Mythic Plus content or AoE situations. Resonance is going to be your best bet. Just look at the damage breakdown. Barrage is a very high portion of our damage done. And Arcane Echo's not. Touch of the Magi itself is not that much damage done, but it does really help on those single target burst situations, which is why I like Magi's brand for my conduit selection there. And that is a 13 miss. Thank you all for watching. That was a really long video. If you made it to this point, Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, please, 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 please comment, ask, tell me how bad I am for making tons of mistakes, and I will hopefully see everyone in the next video. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and tell me what you want to see in the next video.